I am content creator Claudine Francois and the founder of In Good Clean Taste. I am dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs design a healthy lifestyle by incorporating healthy, delicious tools, tips, and resources that empower their inner and outer game. Every episode, my featured guest and I share our healthy, delicious lifestyle journey on my globally recognized show, Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. Hello, and thank you so much for being here on Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. I am content creator and board certified functional medicine and holistic health practitioner, Claudine. You can learn more about me at ingoodcleantaste.com. Now, today's show topic is going to absolutely blow your mind, and be sure to stay on until the end because today's guest has a very special gift for our community. So, without further ado, today's show topic is how to use nature's medicinals to support your wellness journey. You are going to be so amazed by my guest today. She is such a wonderful woman. I just can't wait for you to meet her. Now, I'm going to bring her up from the green room in just a moment, but let me tell you a little bit about this superstar first. So, Darieth Chisolm is an Emmy Award-winning TV host, a dynamic speaker, filmmaker, and host of The Way of the Healer, which is her second independent documentary. Her first documentary, 50 Shades of Silence, used her personal story to launch a revolutionary social justice project and has won multiple awards in film festivals worldwide. Throughout her decorated media and TV career, Darieth has received 2 Emmy wins, 6 Emmy nominations, and multiple awards for her work as a TV host, educator, and entrepreneur. And she's been a featured speaker for Google, the World Women's Summit, several TEDx stages, and many other stages. And she has turned her professional experience into coaching others to become world-class storytellers and public speakers. Oh my goodness, you're going to love this woman. I am welcoming in Darieth Chisolm. Hello.
Hello, it's so delightful to be here with you and your guest.
I am so excited to have you. Absolutely thrilled. I know we have so much to talk about, and I just can't wait to get started. So I'm going to ask you the first question I ask all my guests, which is, what does a healthy, delicious lifestyle mean to you?
Oh, it probably means a lot of things on any particular given day.
Mhm.
But, I'd like to say it means that like what the life that I'm living, I feel grounded and centered and at peace and really following my bliss and joy. I
Mm.
know that we can certainly use foods and medicines and a variety of different modalities to enjoy a healthy lifestyle. And I also happen to believe that it is our mindset and our soul set and the energy that we're bringing in any particular moment that really has the wherewithal to determine our level of happiness and joy. And to me, that's most important.
Oh, that is so good. And I don't know if this is true. And we might delve into this a little bit today, but I feel like when you have the tough experiences, when you have challenges, difficulties, trauma in your life, that's when you experience joy even greater when it happens.
It, in my opinion, is the jumping off point if you are available to move through whatever that is, to experience a greater version of yourself and to look back and perhaps even say, this thing happened for me and not to me, so that I could evolve or change or find out just how strong or courageous I am. And so, yeah, I mean, we can have a lot of traumas and things that occur in our lives that on the other side perhaps we're there to give us the opportunity to dig deeper and be much more happy and successful in life.
Yes, I am sighing because that is the hardest lesson for me to learn. And I learn it over and over and over again. But
I
yes,
know personally for sure.
yes, things are happening for me, not to me. It is a journey. I am so focused on the destination, and I have to remember these are all good things that are happening. So, yes, for anyone who's out there going, this part really sucks, just know something great is going to come out of it in the end.
Yeah, this too shall pass for sure.
Mm. Now, I really want to get to your tips because we were talking a little bit about the before the show, and there's just so much goodness here. So let's talk about your healthy and delicious lifestyle share. It is find ways to ground, be centered, and connect to your higher self and others. Use certain plant medicines and psychedelics to support your journey to wellness and expanded consciousness. You have to tell us more about this.
Mhm.
Please tell us what this means to you. Tell us how you got to here. Oh, tell us all the things.
Yeah, yeah. I'll start first with a disclaimer in that I'm certainly not a doctor or a psychotherapist, and I don't necessarily, um, provide plant medicines or psychedelics to individuals. I certainly have been using them and have had great success in using them. Um, for myself, I mean, just jumping off the conversation we had a moment ago, and what I went through about 5 or 6 years ago with the launch of 50 Shades of Silence and my own personal experience around being cyber attacked and the cyber abuse left me in a very dark emotional place that while I had the support of many people and I launched this incredible project and was out there being an outspoken person about cyberbullying and revenge porn, emotionally, I was torn. And what I had the toughest problem with was literally forgiving the person who had done this to me. And then, of course, forgiving others who were attacking other people and finding ways to abuse people online. That sent me down this path of saying, like I can do a lot of meditation, a lot of reading, a lot of support, but I really want to shift out of that negative energy. I also happened to be at a point in my life where I was asking myself, what's my purpose? Like there has to be more in life. Like, what am I doing next? What do I do next now that I've gone through this? And I'd had so much success as a television news anchor and a filmmaker and a coach that I knew I wasn't going back, but I wasn't sure where I was going. And so I found myself looking into psychedelics and plant medicine and did a lot of research, had the beautiful opportunity to travel to multiple countries and sit with incredible plant medicine providers, practitioners, and shamans, utilizing everything from ayahuasca to wachuma to psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms, to a variety of different plant medicines. And as I began to shift and expand my consciousness and really feel this sense of joy and happiness and greater purpose in life, I had this whole thought of uh, like I have to tell these stories. And as a storyteller, my thought was, I hope that people understand that this is available to them if they're interested. But the stories of the healers themselves and how these plant medicines work and why they're on this planet right now or becoming more available, I should say, because of course they've been on the planet for centuries, is was fascinating to me. So I did what I knew to do, which was to grab some cameras and start filming and telling stories. And of course, now I've launched this incredible podcast and YouTube channel and website called thewayofthehealer.com and featuring stories, but also giving people a great deal of information about, again, the use of plant medicine for wellness, expanded states of consciousness, for really coming deeper into ourselves so that we have the tools and the support that we need to navigate whatever mental health problems we might be going through.
Mm, which is so key, right? Because so much of even our physical health starts with our mental health. Because you can't be healthy physically if you aren't healthy mentally. As I know from personal experience, I have made myself sick multiple times in my life from stress, from worry, from financial struggles, from all the things. And a lot of it is the loop that we play in our heads. So I
Yeah.
could see how something that gets you out of that loop, something that stops the conversation and puts you in a deeper frame of mind where you can really connect to source, where you can connect to yourself even.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be life changing.
And it is in so many different ways. And of course, there's a lot of different psychedelics or plant medicine or mushrooms that people can experiment and use from microdosing, which is has many people are utilizing various different strains of mushrooms, lion's mane, a variety of different nootropics to have them literally have a better cognitive experience. So there's more clarity, more focus, more energy. Again, this being all natural, right? And it's not this intense drive that you might feel if you're drinking coffee or taking something else. And it certainly isn't a pharmaceutical med that might leave people feeling disconnected. If anything, it helps you to be more connected and more grounded and more focused.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, from there, experimenting and utilizing plant medicines for an experience that leaves one in a place where you shut down the default mode network and have a journey or an experience that so many people who particularly might be dealing with like PTSD, trauma, addictions to certain medications, pain. They may have been in therapy for 20 years, or people that report having, one experience with a psychedelic, whether it's LSD or with ketamine or with mushrooms or things like ayahuasca, in that one experience, noticing a massive shift in the way they're dealing with things emotionally, mentally, and psychologically.
Mm. And I want to give people a taste of what this is like, what this journey that you're going on is like. So you very kindly sent me a little snippet of your show. Do you mind if we play it?
Sure, I'd love that. Thank you.
Also, I will pull this in. I'm going to pull this out so people can see this full screen.
Welcome to the Way of the Healer Conversations for Change podcast. I'm your host, Darieth Chisolm. Here, you'll meet some of the world's most extraordinary thought leaders and experts, iconic artists and creators, top-performing athletes, successful entrepreneurs, philanthropists, spiritual teachers, shamans, healers, and many, many more. They sit with me, an Emmy Award-Winning TV host and former news anchor turned filmmaker and life and business coach, for some powerful conversations for change. What are these conversations about? Healing. Healing all aspects of our mind, body, soul, spirit, this planet, each other, and the systems and structures we're currently living in. You'll learn about topics like plant medicine and psychedelics, spirituality, conscious entrepreneurship, conscious communication, the new earth, quantum leaping, multidimensional living, pleasure, play, and sexuality, breathwork, sound healing, food and supplements, and there's just so much. You're just going to need to subscribe to the channel and listen. Come with me now, behind the curtain, to get the backstory on how and why these remarkable people heal themselves and others, how they lead, what makes them tick, what lights them up, gets them down, keeps them going, and what they believe is the way of the healer. So let's go.
Oh my goodness, I got chills. Wait, where are you? There you are. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And I was saying to you earlier, I'm like, when you do something, you go all out. Like that is a huge undertaking. And I am so grateful that you are doing all this hard work for us so that we can
Yeah.
experience all of this. We can learn all of this goodness. I mean, how many of us are going to have the chance or even know how to go to these different shamans, healers, experts? And you're just bringing it to our doorstep.
Yes. Yeah. I have to tell you, I was actually in a very powerful ayahuasca experience in the jungle in Colombia when the 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 vision came in to do this documentary, to then do now what I'm calling a docu-series, which now includes interviewing people worldwide and including them on the podcast, which of course you can listen to on various podcast platforms and then on the YouTube channel. And so as much as this, I started as a documentary, and I suspect that we will eventually get that completed. I didn't want to wait. I'm like, well, we've got this technology such that you're using right now. There's so many incredible people out there that are promoting alternative forms of health and healing. And while originally this started with just plant medicine, the guests that I'm featuring on the show are utilizing crystals and sound healing and, Reiki and a variety of different other forms of alternative healing, with the intent to bring us all back to what I consider is the healer within ourselves. I mean, and that is the point of it, is not so much that we are focusing on those amazing healers, But it's helping us to really ascertain how am I my greatest healer, and what tools and support and modalities and alternatives can I use to support myself in this journey called life.
Mm. I'm sorry, I'm getting chills because you're bringing up so many, like, I have all these synapses firing right now.
It's like we
Because
just got plant medicine.
right. Well, because what I'm hearing is, one, our body wants to be in a state of wellness, and we have so much noise in our environments, right? We have audible noise, we have um the toxins that are around us. We have like Wi-Fi signals that are hitting our bodies. We have, BPAs and like the foods that we're eating that aren't great, and our liver is overwhelmed with all the toxins around us. And what you're saying to me, what I'm hearing is, we are removing all of the barriers for us to connect to ourselves, and for us to really get deep and hear our inner wisdom and our inner guidance, our inner GPS, some people call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can help us to be. I know some people don't like the idea of becoming a different version of ourselves. I feel like it's actually opening us up to the truest version of ourselves.
I would agree with that in so many ways, and particularly my own personal experience with plant medicine and psychedelics is it was so unexpected. I started with this big question of like, what am I going to do next with my life?
Mhm.
What I realized what was occurring was this gradual awakening. And the
Mm.
awakening was so much deeper than like, what am I tangibly going to do? But like, what am I here to do? Why is my soul on this earth at this time connected to these people doing these things? And once that started unfolding and opening up for me, and my expanded states of consciousness are just that much more accessible, it was amazing. And I don't use plant medicine, and now sometimes I will microdose, so I will say that. But these experiences where you go off into the jungle maybe, and you have ayahuasca or wachuma, that you can have one experience, and it can be just that life changing. Now I've had multiple experiences. Part of them were on my own personal journey, but then when I started filming, of course, spending more time doing research. So even with that, I always tell people this can be a journey of just coming to know yourself. And if in fact you're ready and your soul is available for this kind of expanded experience, these plants, these psychedelics, open you up to larger fields of consciousness. It's not, in my opinion, they're so much doing it as much as they're the conduit to getting you there. You can get there a lot of different ways. Meditation is one, breath work, exercise, there's a lot of ways. They just work very fast.
Oh, yes. Because I have a lot of people, a lot of clients that I work with in my functional medicine practice, where they say, I can't meditate. I can't stay out of my head. And I know the feeling because, as women entrepreneurs or women that are in corporate, we have so many things going on, right? And women in general, we got so much going on. We're constantly having the ticker tape of thoughts, and finding a way to be still. And I know we were going to talk about stillness. Finding a way to give yourself the gift of stillness is amazing if you can get there. Now, I always call meditation a practice, and I'm constantly practicing. Some days I'm great. Some days I'm not so great. But if there was something that could enhance that practice, if there was something that could get me there faster or more consistently, then that would be, and to feel that sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? That sense of awe, that sense of gratitude, that sense of being fully me. And I don't know about you, but when I have a good meditation, I feel like I have little tingles all over my body, and I'm like, I'm here to serve the world.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm here today for you, world. And I want to feel that every day, right?
Yeah, I think everybody's experience is different in meditation. For me, it is the practice that I do every day that grounds and centers me. What I also now find as part of my meditation is I feel just that more satiated
Mm.
in the moments outside of meditation. And so what I mean by that is that I am that much more aware after a meditation and throughout the day that everything in my environment is here and has a purpose, and of which I'm extremely grateful and appreciative for. And I can literally get myself to a place where I feel so lit up and satiated about any particular thing, that most of that, I find that I'm continually like priming the pump in meditation. And so that later in the day, I might feel a huge sense of gratitude for this water.
Mm.
And really in this moment, being one with the water and just saying, for the person who, built my house and put the pipes in, to the company that is actually cleaning the water, to the fact that I have water available for me and that it's quenching, replenishing my body. Like that level of gratitude and that level of consciousness, I will probably say was further activated through my use of plant medicine, but then also through really being intentional with the meditations. And now it just kind of reverberates out during the day in various moments. And then I have to bring
Mm.
myself into it and be aware. And then there's this lighter feeling, this, overall sense of like gratitude of like, this is life is really good. This is really good, and when you live in that awareness and you're conscious of that, you're vibrating at a frequency that begins to attract more of that into your life. And I believe that part of the reason we go into meditation is so that we get calm and centered, but we also are increasing our vibration and frequency so that we're emitting at a higher rate and now obviously attracting that back. And to practice the awareness throughout the day after you finished your meditation is like where you really start to, like I say, feel satiated throughout the entire day and not just as a result of the meditation.
Yes, there have been so many studies that show that gratitude changes our perception, changes our attitude during the day. It changes physically. We change when we are in a state of gratitude. I have this book that I love. I just keep it right here, my little gratitude journal. One of my guests actually mentioned this and I got it. And I love it because not only you can see I've written all my things in it. Not only does it say I'm grateful for, but it also has like what would make today great. So it's helping me focus on already kind of putting out in the universe, what am I going to do today that's going to be awesome? Like today it was like have fabulous connections. We're having a fabulous connection right here, right? And affirmations, and even something at the evening you can be grateful. But just having something like this to kind of jumpstart for someone who feels like I don't know where to start, that can
Yeah.
be it. You have so many great resources that you're going to share with people for where they want to start. But I want to get to your next tip, which is do what brings you joy and happiness and follow your bliss. How did you get to the point where you could allow yourself to do
Yeah.
what brings you joy?
I'm again consciously aware that the more joyful you feel, which by the way, if on a vibrational chart, joy and appreciation are the highest emotions that we can feel, right? Whereas if we're talking shame and heavy, dense emotions, they're lower. And so and it's hard to jump from that to joy.
Mm.
However, when we are finding more ways to follow what makes us happy, to be in the moment, to be expressing a certain energy where we feel joyful and happy, we're more likely to attract more things to help us feel
Mm.
more joyful and happy. It just continues to expand. And so the more often we do that, the more things we find to do that, and the more ways we find to be in that. It in the very beginning can feel like a little work, right? It can sometimes feel if you've never uh, activated this sense of following joy and bliss in the very beginning can feel a little different. But once you start and once you find it, I call it milking the moment, and you're staying with it and finding more things to feel joyful about. No different than what that book just said, right? You have to consciously think about, well, what would bring me joy? What would make me happy? And then giving yourself permission to do that. And we're not talking about the big things like, well, what would bring me joy would be for me to go jump on a cruise ship and sail across the Bahamas right now. Well, that's not necessarily happening in this moment. So what could you do in this moment? Oh, a cup of tea would feel really good, right? Turning on the music and dancing for a second, calling someone you love and expressing your love, going outside and putting your feet in the earth and grounding, picking up a flower and smelling it and looking deeply at the petals. There's so many things that we can do That could bring, now those were my list of things that bring me joy. Developing your list and doing it often and feeling into that vibration just emits the
Mhm.
frequency that allows more of that to come into your life more often.
Yes, and you made this perfect segue into my next tip, which is about the practice of grounding or simply being in nature, because those can reduce stress levels and invite clarity. And I will give a personal example. People who've followed me have heard this probably 100 times, but when I was in corporate and I was stressed out to the max, I would leave the building and take a walk. I had to get out. It didn't matter that I was in a field of dirt. I mean, my last position, when I was the CFO of a multinational produce company, I was in a vineyard, so that wasn't so bad, even though it was 110. But just getting out, getting into nature, and there's something about the feel of the wind, the feel of the earth, the sounds of the birds, anything. And for people who don't have nature nearby, or they just can't leave, they can get a grounding mat, right? I'll put a link to one of these in the comments. So, because you can have this all the time, you can feel that earth vibrational grounding to help you get into that moment, to feel that sense of, okay, everything's going to be okay. We have a connection to the earth. I don't know that I have the chops to explain it, but we are here on this planet. We've been in this environment for a very long time. We have a connection to the trees, to the grass, to whatever environment we're in. There is a connection. And when we get out there and we feel that connection, it completely changes, as you said, our vibration.
It absolutely does. And, of course, just putting your bare feet into the earth, onto the grass, and standing there, or sitting or lying, which is even better, but taking that in, it doesn't take a long time. You can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong. You are connecting to the frequency that this earth it provides for us. And in many cases, especially if you're stressed or there's a lot going on, or sometimes for me, sometimes I'm just really buzzing and I have a ton of energy and I feel really great. And it's like, and I really need to, it's like getting into the earth. The other thing is I'm a huge believer in literally putting your hands in the earth and planting things. When I meditate, often I use crystals and high frequency music, generally incense. And then usually if I have fruit or something, one of the plants in my home that are on my altar, I will take those things and I will bury them into the earth with prayers and with intentions. And so literally, grounding by putting things back into the earth is also very helpful for helping us to create this opportunity to have less stress in our life and feel more connected.
Yes, it's interesting because people have been gardening for centuries, for a long time. And yeah, they're just now doing studies to realize that gardening is a stress reduction activity, that people who do spend time in the garden actually have lower amounts of stress. They tend to be more calm, they have clearer thoughts, they have more ideas, because when we're not stressed, we have more ideas, right? Now, I want to talk about your free gift. And I know you mentioned there's a couple, right?
Mhm.
Tell us about your gifts.
Sure. Well, first, let's talk about the link that's coming across now is thewayofthehealer.com/begin. I have a beautiful free workbook that helps you if you're at all curious about plant medicine, what it is, how it works, how to begin, particularly if you're looking to experience a plant medicine retreat or work with someone. I've worked very closely with several professionals, practitioners, psychedelic integration coaches and shamans to create this for you. So it's available for you. It's free to download and could be a good resource and tool for you. Additionally, at thewayofthehealer.com, and both of these are available under resources, is a free guided meditation. And in my guided meditations, you would just create your own account, and I'm updating that with various different guided meditations that I call activations. They include high frequency music. We probably won't get into talking about channeling, but part of what occurs for me when I am recording a meditation is I'm really in connection with higher sources, higher frequency. And so I begin to channel some of those messages that are intended to support you in whether it's topics around abundance, happiness, health, activating creativity, a variety of different things. So that is available as well at the website, thewayofthehealer.com, under free resources. And, again, we've been talking a lot about meditation, so I hope that you will find that useful. At that website as well, you'll be able to watch many of the episodes and listen to the episodes. You can also leave us your name and email address. We'll include you in the email list and then update you. I send out 2 episodes each week. One of them is with a guest, and then the other one is where I'm either breaking down some of the things that we talked about or really providing you with information to do what I call shift. And shift is literally about allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to shift into a higher frequency and high vibration. I have a program called Shift that is designed to help you to look at how am I utilizing how I feel in my everyday life to master my emotions so that I can have more play and pleasure and joy and creativity and fun and great relationships. And so Shift is really designed to doing that. So those videos are also come out through thewayofthehealer.com.
And you are so generous with your resources. And I so appreciate you. I have listened to your meditations. I absolutely love them. Everything you do is so professionally done, right? And your voice is just so calming, and you have these great sounds going on in the background. I love them. I also have your guide, which has super helpful tips for anyone who's interested in dabbling, who wants to learn more, but it's really practical too, right? You have some really practical advice in there for people who want to shift, who want to get a little bit into this world.
Right, because I will say that it's really important that you do your research. I will soon be offering several retreats with people that I've vetted to take people into the Amazon and into various different places. That is not a decision that you make lightly. It is several months in planning. That guide really helps you so that even if you're considering microdosing, like being very conscious and mindful around that, and then certainly if you're looking at having an experience with, let's say, ayahuasca or wachuma, going to Peru or to the jungle, you don't just, in my opinion, trape off and go for the weekend. And there's a lot of pre-planning that should be considered. There's a lot that goes on. Generally, you're there for about 5 or 6 days, but the real work comes in the integration that happens after you come home, because integration will look like the weeks, the days, and sometimes years after of really implementing what you got out of that journey. And it unlocks so many different layers that sometimes you need support. And, I have a long list of integration coaches and specialists to support people in that. And that's why I tell people, like, you've got to make sure you do your homework. If you're interested at all being close to this podcast, I'll be introducing you to a lot of people, but really discovering in the first few questions in that guide has you to really get centered, like, why am I doing this? What are my intentions? What am I looking for? So that you get that down in the prep, and then you plan, and then you look at your integration. And so even with some of the retreats that I'll be offering in coordination with people, that's really important for people to understand that.
So much goodness. We could talk forever, Darieth. I am so excited that you came on today's show. And I so appreciate your openness, your willingness, and I appreciate your journey. I know the journey's for you, but I feel like so many of us get to benefit from what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I am so grateful for what you're doing and what you're bringing to your audience. And I'm so thankful that you asked me to be on the show. Thank you.
Hey, all right. Well, I'm going to throw you in the green room. Stay there, get a mocktail. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, y'all. Was that not amazing? Wow. I'm like hashtag mind blown right now. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to remind you to think about how you are going to create a healthy, delicious lifestyle for yourself today. And until then, join me for another episode of Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Central. I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me today. You can learn more about me, my products, and services at ingoodcleantaste.com. Be sure to join me for another episode every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on my globally recognized show, Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine.